Okay, we were at division, and I was saying that in case of two integers, when we divide two integers, the result should be an integer. In C programming, it is an integer. So only 0 gets stored in the variable, right? But in R, it takes the decimal place as well, because these are numeric value. It is not integer value, numeric value. Okay, and because the result of the division is 0.5, I get the whole value stored in V3. Okay, now what if I want to know the remainder? Okay, so if I want to get the remainder of the first, let us use the vector again, first vector with the second vector. Okay, so how I'll do that? I do have V1 and V2. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll write directly, I'll print it right now. I won't store it in some variable. Okay, so I'll give print into round brackets. Now what I want to do is I want to find the remainder of the first vector. Okay, the first vector is v1. So what I'll do is I'll write v1. Okay, and the remainder operator is your percent sign. It is two percent signs. Okay, it is not a single percent sign. In C programming, it is single. Okay, and it is known as a modulus operator. Okay, the modulus operator. Now here we put the 2% sign followed by the other vector here. Now the other vector is v2, so I'll put v2 here. Okay, and I just press enter. Okay, and I get the answer. Fine. So here you can see it is performing the remainder. Now how it works? Let us try to understand from here. Okay, when I say 1 divided by 5, first of all, can I divide it? No. So remainder remains 1. Neither I can divide 2 by 6. So remainder is 2. Neither here. So that's why I'm getting 1, 2, 3. Okay. If I do the other way around, if let us say print into bracket, okay, V2 and V3. Sorry, V1 and V2 and V1. V1, yeah, V1. Okay, if I do this, okay, look at this now. Okay, if you want to divide, 5 by 1, you can divide, so remainder is 0. So I get 0 here. Okay, then 2, when I divide 6 by 2, okay, so 2 3s are 6, remainder is 0. Whereas in this case, 3 2s are 6 and remainder is 1. And that's why I get the remainder 1 here. Okay, so 0 0 1 is the output in this case. Any doubts in this one? I hope you have understood. Just remember that it is going to give me the remainder. If you want, I can just show it with one variable. So I say 4, and I want to find the remainder with, let us say, 7. Okay. So simple, remember, you cannot divide 4 by 7. If you have to divide, then you'll get decimal places, right? So it is going to perform integer division first and give me the remainder. So this is going to give me 4 output. Okay. Whereas if I do print 7 and I want to find the remainder in this case, let us do 4 here. Okay. What should be the answer, guys? Anyone? What will be the answer in this
3, sir.
case?
3.
3,
3,
sir, 3.
exactly. Right. So 4 ones are 4 and the remainder 3 will come here. So I get 3 here as the output. So I think you have understood this operator now, how it works. Now there's one more operator, which is your, division. If I, in this case, I got the remainder. What if I want the quotient? Okay. If I want the quotient, that is the integer part, which is in case of division, then I can give this, let us put it print again, and I'll use a 7 again. So 7, there's a 7, and the operator comes as percent sign, followed by the division, that is the forward slash, again the percent sign, and the number with which I want to divide. Okay, so I'm performing division. Okay, but this is known as your integer division, where I get the quotient only. I'm not getting the remainder. If I put only 2% sign, I get the remainder. Okay, if I put only the slash, I get the whole division, like in that previous case, like we got 0.5 when we divided 4 divided by 8. Okay, now in this case, because I can divide this only once, so the quotient will be 1. So I get 1 here. Okay. So 7, the percent sign, the slash, the division sign, again followed by the percent sign. Now this is another operator which gives you the quotient. Okay. So the result here will be 1. Okay. And if I want the remainder, I have to just put the 2% sign. Okay. I hope all the operators here are clear. I think, okay, there's one more operator which I missed out. That is you can see the exponent operator, to the power of. If suppose I want to find the power, like for example, let us say print into bracket 2 raised to. So in that case, there's a caret sign. Okay, this is known as a caret sign. Okay, so the first raised to the second one, the exponent of the second one. Second one, let us say 2 raised to 3. Okay, so the answer is 8. Okay, 2 2s are 4, 4 2s are 8. Okay, you get that answer. You can do it with vector as well. So if I want to print this and I have the second vector v2 raised to, so I give the caret sign, okay, v1. Okay, so v1 has 1, 2 and 3. So 5 raised to 1, 6 raised to 2 and 7 raised to 3. That will be the value. So I get 536 and 343. That is the answer. Clear? So this is you can say also known as raised to or exponent of uh, the caret sign, which can be used here. So these are some of the arithmetic operators. Let me clear this screen again. So Control L. Oh God, what? Minimize this. Fine. Control L. It's clearing my screen. Okay. Now, before we move off, I would like to complete 2 more. One is your relational operator and your logical operator. So let us do the relational operator. Relational operators, you might have used it in simple programming languages. For others, your relational operator will try to check the relationship between 2 variables or 2 objects. Okay. Even in case I can make use of the vectors as well. Now, what are the relational operators? Like, for example, less than sign. Okay, less than. So we have not done the if condition, right? So if I want to directly print, let us say print into bracket, because we already have this v1 and v2 with us, we can make use of that. So if I can write v1, greater than v2. So what is going to happen is it's going to take each element and compare with the other element in the same index. So the value 1 will be compared with 5. So 1 greater than 5. Is it greater than 5? No, it is not greater than 5. So it is going to return me either true or false. Now in this case, it will be false because the condition is not true. Okay. 2 is neither, you can say, greater than 6. So again, false, and here also false. Now let me run this and show you. So here you see false, false, false. Let me change the value of v1. So I say v1 is equal to c into bracket. Let us put this as 7 comma, let us put this as 3 comma, and this is 9. Okay, and now we can compare this print and check whether I get the answers properly. So v2. Okay, here you can see now. Now, when I said 7, you can see this 7 greater than 5. Yes, it is. So true. 3 is not greater than 6. So false. 9 is greater than 7. So true. Okay. So this is your first relational operator, the greater than sign. Okay. Greater than, you can call it. Similarly, we have less than. So we can give print v1 less than v2. Now, because I have the vectors here, I'm using the vectors. You can use individual values as well. So here you can see we get false, true, and false, opposite to this one. Okay. Then we have the equal to operator, where we are comparing 2 values. Now, the assignment operator has single equal to sign, whereas the comparison, or you can say the relational operator, equal to, will have 2 equal to signs in it. Okay. So in this case, what I'll do is I'll write print into bracket, let's say v1 equal to like this, and V2. Now, because there's no equal values, it will be false. So all are false. Let us quickly change V1. I'll change this to say 5, comma, say 3, comma 9, and now print V1 equal to V2 and check it out. Now you can see, because the first number is same, 5 is equal to 5. So that's why I get true here. Okay. So whenever you're using the relational operator to compare two values, in that case, you're going to make use of equal to, double equal to sign. Okay. Without a space, mind you, there's no space in between. It is a continuous two equal to signs to compare two values. It is a relational operator. Okay. And then we also have less than equal to, greater than equal to, and I don't think so I need to explain you that, because less than equal to is going to check whether it is less or equal to. Even if it is equal to, it is going to give me true. If it is less, it is going to give me true. Similarly, if I have greater than equal to, then if it is greater or equal to, it is going to give me true. Okay, or it is going to give me false. Okay, that's how it works. So your greater than equal to sign will be looking like this, greater than equal to like this. Okay, and less than equal to similarly will be like this. Fine. So if I say print V1 less than equal to V2. Okay, now because we do have one value which is equal to, you can see this true, and I get false here. Okay, so this is equal to, that's why I get true here. This is less, that's why true, but this is not true because this is greater than. Okay, so similarly, you can make use of greater than equal to as well. Okay, the other one which is there, like we have equal to, we also have not equal to. Okay, so if in that case, I have to make use of the exclamation mark. So we have V1 not equal to, this is your not equal to. Okay, the exclamation mark followed by a single equal to sign, V2. Okay, again I press and it says false, true. Okay, so wherever it is equal, like in this case it was equal, but I want not equal, but this is equal, that's why I'm getting false. This is not equal, so true. This is not equal, so true. Okay, so these are your relational operators. These are your relational operators, and basically you're going to make use of the relational operators with your if condition statements, which we are going to learn the while loops or something like that, if whenever we are using loops. And these are some terms which I'll explain you later on. Okay, so all your relational operator will be used with, as I said, with your if condition statements or your loops as well. Okay, and it's frequently used there. Then the different other type of operator is your logical operator. Logical operator would be your and, or, and not. Okay, and there is a variety of and also. So we do get a logical, logical and operator, and we also have element-wise logical and operator. Okay, if I have to go through element-wise, then if I have say two vectors, let us try to compare this now. I'll quickly write a statement here, a print one, print into bracket. Now we have V1, and I'll use a single and sign. Okay, V2. Okay, please remember it's a single and sign. Your single and sign is called the element-wise logical and operator. Okay, because it is going to compare one element at a time. It's comparing one element at a time, and for each element, it is going to tell me whether it's true or false. Fine. So here you get true. Okay. Why true? Why true? Anyone? Why all three are true? Anyone, guys? See, when I say these two numbers, the first two numbers, let us compare these two. This is 5, this is 5. When I use a logical and, I'll give a simple one. Let's say I'll use single element. say I put 5 and I put here 5. Okay, both are non-zero numbers. It should give me true. Okay, let me try 0 and see whether it is giving me true. Okay, it's not giving me true. Why? Because 0 is considered to be a false. In logically speaking, a non-zero number is true and 0 is false. Now, if I give some other number, what if I give 5 and 4? True, because both the numbers are true, a non-zero number. Okay, so logically speaking, true and true will be true, and true and false will be false. Okay, now when we use the AND operator, remember your AND logical AND operator usually checks if both the side is true or false. Okay, if both are true, then the overall result will be true. If one of them is false, the result will be false. Okay, and that is not the case with OR operator. If you look at the OR operator, print into round bracket. Now I'll use the same example like 5, and the OR comes with, it's a pipe sign like this. Okay, and I give 5 here. Okay, so true, because both are true. True or true will be true. Okay, print 5 or 0. Now what should be the output here, guys? It needs either one of them to be true. So this will be true because 5 is true. Okay, so I get true here. In case I have both the values as 0 or false, I can also put like this, guys. If I want, I can put here false. Like this, false. Okay, I can put false and true. Let us put 0 here. Okay, false. Okay, when both are false, then false. If either one of them is true, true. No problem. Okay, had I put here, this is false and this is as say 1. Okay, so this would have been true, a non-zero number. Clear? So this is how it works. Now look at the value which when we did the vector comparison with the logical operator, say V1, let me put OR now, V2, the logical OR, and I put here. So here you can see we have true, true, true everywhere. Now to make one of them as false, let us change the value of V1. So I'll write V1 equal to, like, I'll put 0. Let us put 5 here. Oh, sorry, it was 3. So I'll keep 3 and 9 as it is. Okay, and now I can write print V1. Now because it's OR, okay, V2, it's hardly going to change, fine. But the same one, if I put and V1 and V2, sorry, V2, I get false, true, true. Okay, that's the difference. What if I put the double and sign? So if I give print V1 and, again, this is a logical operator. Double and sign is also called as a logical and operator, but it is not element wise. In the previous one, it was element wise. So it was checking each of them. Here, I'm going to get only one true or one false. Okay. As soon as it finds that first element is not same or there's a problem, it's not, true. The first one is, you can see this one 0 here. Because this first part itself is false, it is not going to compare anything else. It's directly going to give me false. Okay, had I got a non-zero number here, then it would have been true. So it compares V1 with V2, not element-wise, but as a whole. Okay, and similarly, we also have this OR operator, which has the two pipe signs. So we can give V1 like this, V2. Okay. Now this is also known as your logical OR operator, and it takes the first element of both the vectors and gives the answer is true or false. Okay. So is one of you can say the first element. Look at the first element, 0 and 5. Okay. So because it is OR, it is going to give me true. Of course, both are not 0. Let me change V2 also. So if I say V2 equal to C into bracket, let me put this as 0, 0, 6, comma 7. Okay, and now use print into bracket V1 or V2. Now it is false because both are false, 0, 0. And remember, in this case, it is comparing the first element. Okay, it's going to compare only the first element. And only if both are true, it is going to return true. In case of true. And in case of, in case of the AND logical operator. In case of the OR logical operator, it is going to have either one of them as true, it is going to give me true. If both are false, then false. Okay, that is how it works. Fine. We have already seen the assignment operator. When we come next, I'll show you there's another operator called in, and we can also have the multiplication operator, which can be used, in a different way. So, which comes under miscellaneous operators. So, when we come next, we are going to see that as well. Okay. I want you all to punch in your attendance in the chat box. Please punch in the attendance so that I have all the attendance. So these are my attendance.
I have a question.
Yes, Nagesh.
So what is the difference between equal to sign and assignment operator, sir? Equal to and less than and minus.
Acha, the left operator and the right operator.
Yes.
No difference. There's no difference. Basically, the purpose of all the three are the same. Assignment. But
answer
because
if the
tell me.
And the array size is different, then what happens when we add or multiply?
Nothing happens. There's no change. Let us do one example. Let us say A, I'm using equal to 4. Fine. I have B, and I'm using this operator here, 5. I have C, I'm using the other right operator, 6. Okay. No, 1 minute. Fine. This is not valid because this is an integer. Okay. So this cannot happen. I'm not giving the right one. I have to give 6 first. So 6, because the arrow sign indicates everything. So 6 is a constant. So I have to give C here. Okay. So I performed three this assignments. You can see this 4, 5, and 6. Now let me do the addition. I say S. Okay. I use this A plus, let us put C. Okay. I got S value. You can see 10. No change. There's hardly anything. Okay. Similarly, I can give S equal to A plus B. Okay. Here you can see 9. Okay. And the other way around, if I want to perform the addition and then assign. So I can do that like this, say A multiplied by B. Okay. And I can use the right word operator and assign it to S. No problem. Here you can see 20. So, it is just a way of, because they have made it more flexible in performing addition, whereas such type of assignments were never possible in, C programming. It is always from the right hand side to the left hand side. Okay. But the right word assignment is only possible in R programming. Might be some new programming language, they might be having it, but at least I have seen it only in R programming. In fact, you'll be surprised. You can also have like this A. Okay, you can see this less than, minus, and 3. Even this is possible. So we'll come to this later on, especially when we are using less than. Can we put 3 less than signs? Please check it out. Okay. So the more you go into it, you'll find many multiple things into it. So
answer also in the case of arrays V1 and V2, the number is 3 number, no? Index number 3. if one array have components like 4 numbers
It
or
is
5 numbers.
one minute. It's not an array. First thing, okay, it's a vector. Array is different. Array is different. And how do we create arrays? Using array, right? Remember that word?
Yes,
Array?
yes.
Yeah.
My bad.
And array are multi-dimension, right? Remember I said arrays are multi-dimension. And whenever we use C to perform or create, okay, these are the index positions. Your question is if I have a different dimension, that's
Yes, sir.
right. You have 4 elements here and 3 elements here. Okay, let us do that. So we have V1. You're trying to say we have V1. See, I put some numbers randomly. 1. Let us put this, right? So how many elements we have? 6 here, right? And now I perform addition. So S equal to say V1 plus V2. V2 hai. Okay. Now look at this S. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what is happening? It is using this 3. Okay. Once this addition is done, it is using this again to perform the addition here. Okay. So 0 plus 0 gives me 0. 6 plus 1 gives me 7. Then 7 plus 2 gives me 9. When there's no elements left here, it takes 0 plus 3. Okay. It gives you 3. Then 6 plus 4 gives you 10. 7 plus 5 gives you 12. That is how it works. It goes in a rotation. Like last time also, if you remember, when we, I think, in the last lecture also, there was some example where it went into rotation. Okay. Same thing is going to happen when we do subtraction, multiplication, anything. If the number of elements are less, it goes round back and uses the first element, second element, third element, and so on. And there's the beauty and even the confusion part of R programming. But if you do the same thing in some other programming language, it might not work out. Okay.
Yes,
And
sir.
that's the reason. That's the reason I've been telling you. You keep on experimenting with the operators. Whatever doubts you have, you do it and check it out, because that is how you're going to learn extra things. And now in my case, what is going to happen is because we have to complete the syllabus, I might not explore it into deeper things. Fine. So I'll just show you the regular things and move on. But at your end, you have to experiment with it. Programming is all about exploring things. Okay, so please do it. Like I did your double less than sign, then minus sign 3, whether it's going to work. Let's put 3 and check it out whether it's working. Whether put 4 and 5 and check it out.
It's not
And try
working.
to find, yeah, and then try to find out what's the reason for this. Whether 3 is going to work. So if I say A, I have 3 signs like this, and then I give 6. Okay, so now it gives an error. That means up to 2 is working. Then there has to be some meaning for that 2 less than sign. Then you try to explore it. That is how you're going to learn. So learning a language is not easy. Because it has many things into it. And we are not able to cover everything in the syllabus which is given to you. And you pick up any language, whether it's C programming, Java, C++, or R programming, Python, it's so vast that you cannot, master it. You should know the basics and you should know how to explore it further. That is the beauty of all programming languages, you can say. Okay, so that's all from my end today. I hope you have given the attendance. I'll stop the share. Okay, please give your attendance, and we'll meet again for for Tableau today itself. So see you for Tableau. Bye guys, everyone. See you.